Hey YouTube, it's Marida and welcome to another edition of Nurse Lounge. In this edition, we're actually going to talk about my narcissistic marriage, my road to recovery. And we're going to talk about the narcissistic ways that they know how to trigger you. They like to push your buttons. If you want to see what I'm talking about, stay tuned. Welcome back. My name is Dr. Marida P, emergency nurse. However, we're not talking about nursing today. We're talking about, again, as usual, in this series, the narcissist and his way of triggering, in my case, me. And when I finally figured that out, that he was doing things on purpose, let's talk about it. So when it comes to a narcissist or someone who's truly a narcissist, someone who has the traits, though not formally diagnosed, they have traits that are very much characteristic of NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. And they like to trigger you. They get to the point to have that control. They get to the point that they know what pushes your button, so they do that on purpose. So as an example, for me, my husband knew that I could not stand when he was supposed to, as an example, get the kids off the bus. He was supposed to get the kids off the bus. I worked 12-hour shifts and things like that, or one of my other jobs in which I would not be home. My son gets home off the bus like at 2:50 in the afternoon. And so he had a responsibility to get him off the bus every single day and, be here for him. And it would never fail that at least once a week that I would get a phone call from the school, because the bus driver called the school who called me to simply say, there's nobody home to get your son off the bus. And he knew that would drive me crazy, because the thing is, I have this thing that, if being black, especially in a school system, well, it doesn't matter being black, but just being in a school system period where you're never home when you're supposed to be, they can call DCS on you, DCS or CPS or whatever you all call it on you. And he knew that was his responsibility. So he would make it a point at times just to irk me that he would literally purposely, like the bus comes at 2:46-ish, 2:46 to 2:50. He would leave work at 2:46 knowing he's supposed to have been here at a certain time. Now, he did work 7 minutes away, but you still don't leave at the same time the bus is supposed to come. And he did that all the time. And it got to the point that he would do that on purpose just to make me upset. And it got to the point where I had to find a neighbor or somebody to help me get him off the bus because he was not reliable. That is how backwards they think. This is his own child that he's not getting off the bus. But to set me completely off, it would do that, he would do things like that. And then we would get into this cycle of me saying things like, you know what, you're not being responsible and this, that, and the other. Then the victim part. Well, you know what, if it wasn't because of the fact that you worked all these hours, gaslighting, projecting, playing the victim. That's what they do. Classic traits of a narcissist. Then I wouldn't have to do this, and I could work and I could do this. And that's the reason why I can't keep a job, is because I have to get him off the bus. Then it was always my fault or the child's fault as to why he couldn't be where he needed to be on time. Stuff like that. So they will trigger you on purpose. They will find out what makes you upset. It may not be something like that. Sometimes it may be something like, let's just say, like, trash is on Friday. He knows trash is on Friday. Trash, they pick up on Friday. And my trigger would be, okay, we take the trash on Thursday because Friday morning, sometimes we don't think about it. By the time we think about it, we're already gone for work. We're already gone for work. And so we've missed trash day. And then you have 2 weeks of trash that's piled up, by the time they come back around again the next time. And I just can't stand that. And he would purposely, again, miss the trash day. Well, you know what? I'm not the only one who uses the trash. I'm not the one who accumulates trash. But that's something that you do every single Friday. That's the one thing I could usually count on him doing every single Friday or Thursday night is taking the trash out. But if he wanted to set me off, he would do things like that, because it got to the point in our relationship that there was no talking in the house. When I say no talking, I had nothing to say to him unless it was regarding the kids or something I needed to do. Could you be here? Could you be there? We were not communicating. And I'm not saying that's good or whatever, but the thing is, with narcissists, negative attention is better than no attention at all. Keep that in mind. They rather have negative attention than none at all. And when you have that situation go, what they'll do is they'll purposely set you off, and you'll be so upset, or I was so upset that I'll go completely off, and I would just, just upset, just, fussing and being an octave higher than I am even now. Like, you know better than this, da, 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 da. And then what they do, let me see what they do after that. After they got you to react, once they got you to react, which is what they wanted you to do, then they retreat, they pull back, and in the conversation, have that evil smirk that they have, and they go about their way. That's what they do. They will start mess with you, and then have that, once they got you off your corner, once they get you off of that, they retreat. Then they go back and like, you know what? Okay, well, I'm sorry, this, that, and the other, or whatever. And then they go about their way. Or they'll walk out and go about their way and come back an hour or two later or the next day or whatever they happen to be doing and act like ain't nothing ever even happened. Act like nothing even happened. And you're up here like, wait a minute. Weren't we just fighting about X, Y, and Z in your mind, And then you begin to realize a pattern of that. They have a pattern where they'll keep on and keep on and keep on and keep on. And when they don't feel like they're getting any supply from you, any fuel from you, they will continue with that narrative of, let me do something to make him or her mad. In my case, her mad. And then it got to the point he did that with the kids. So he knew, as an example, that saying something to my son about my oldest son, he's very smart, very smart. He told my son that being smart is not cool. And because he's making all these good grades, it don't make a difference. It's not going to make a difference in his life anyway. Just negative stuff. And then he kept on picking at him and picking him. And so then my son started picking up on the same traits I had, started yelling, okay, fussing at him. And you really don't want your children to be fussing at a parent, either way. And then I start seeing myself in him because he was doing what I was doing. They know your triggers and they will use that against you. And then you blow up to high heaven, and the next thing you know, they calm, cool, and collective. Like, why are you yelling? They'll come back, why are you yelling? I was just trying to have a simple conversation. I was just trying to let you know this, that, and the other. And then they got you out of character. So now you mad at yourself because you out of character. Now my child acting up because he out of character too, because he's being bullied, basically, by his parent. And the problem with that is we have to learn that we don't need to be triggered by these people, that they're doing it on purpose. They're setting us up. They're setting us up. And they keep on setting us up until we blow up. And then once we blow up and they's like, got them. That's how they act. They don't say that per se. But that smirk that they do, that evil smirk, got them. That's kind of how they act. Then they retreat back. Like, okay, you did exactly what I wanted you to do. You did exactly what I wanted you to do. And then you up here, like I said, mad at yourself. So then I began to realize, so let me say how I fixed that. Now, when you fix this and go Grayrock on them, which I think I've mentioned about Grayrocking before. Grayrocking is when you have no emotion to nothing. You answer the question, just plain, simple. They may say, how are you doing today? Because they're trying to get a conversation. It's like, I'm good. I'm fine. And you leave it at that. You know how usually you, with a friend, you elaborate. I'm good. I went and did this today. I went and did that today. Nope, you don't do any of that. I'm fine. And you go about doing what you're doing. Oh, well, I really want to talk to you about our son. What about? You awfully quiet today. What do you want to talk about? That's how the conversation will go. That's what I learned to do. What do you want to talk about? Anything that derails from what he claimed he wanted to talk about, I would stay on that topic. Then that would make him mad. But then when that makes him mad, keep in mind, then you have to go through the silent treatment. So then when you really do have a need, when you do have something urgent to talk about, because like maybe, hey, I need you to go get him from school because they called me and said he was sick, type of thing. when that happens, then they won't do it because they're that kind of parent. Keep in mind, a lot of the narcissists care nothing about their children. They will use them as pawns. They will act like they have a favorite one because him or her does what they say to do, but they don't really typically care about their children. So when I say they don't care about their children, hence in my situation, it's been a year, almost a year. So he's been gone since May of 2020. This video is in September of 2021. And I've gotten maybe $200. Well, actually, I didn't get any of it because it was for the boys' birthday gifts. $200 total in their care. And no, actually, I got zero in their care because that was their gift money. So I let them, do what they want as they wanted to do with it because it's their money. $200. So no money have I gotten. So if a man or a woman cares about their child, he or she's going to care about their well-being, right? They're going to, if you need help, they're going to assist them. Even if they have problems, if they care about their child, they're going to take care of their children. He does not do so. And yes, he does work and he lives with his dad, I think. I don't know. Anyway, my point is this. We have to realize that they're doing this on purpose to trigger us. And this, my whole point in saying this deals with your mental, your psyche. And then you're going through this thing in your head all the time where you're talking to yourself in your head and you're like, okay, he's trying to. Once I start putting the pictures together and start noticing the trends, then I realize, you know what? He's really trying to trigger me here. He knows that sets me off. He knows that when he doesn't show up for when he's supposed to show up for. He knows when he doesn't answer the phone, 15 phone calls later, he doesn't answer the phone before he finally calls me back because it's about the kids. He knows that will set me off. He knows, and what he would do is, speaking of that one, prime example, of course, with certain things going on, COVID wise, or just your child getting sick, the school will call you to tell you the child is sick and you need to come pick him up. Well, he's at home at the time. He was at home. I was at work. And so I couldn't get off to go pick him up because he was home. He could go pick him up. It took literally 15 calls later. I mean, I can't prove it. I cannot prove it. But I felt like he was just watching that phone. And then eventually he called me back. He knows that would set me off because of the fact that, like, okay, what are you doing where you can't answer your phone? You're not working, not today, to go pick up this child. The school would call him and he wouldn't answer the phone. Oh, yeah, I saw where they had called. I saw that. But you didn't answer it? If the school is calling, they're calling because of something's wrong with the child. They're not calling to say hi. It'd be stuff like that. And then we would have that argument about just nonsense. And he would know that would just set me off. He didn't care. Because he knew at the end of the day, I'm going to go take care of my child. So I had to leave work early, go pick up my child. Or actually, that particular day, he went to pick up the child. But it's just that constant headache of trying to get him to do what he's supposed to do. And he knows it would set me off by him not doing what he's supposed to do. And so I want you to know that they purposely do that to you. They purposely will trigger you. They figure out what it is that sets you off, and they will continuously do that until you stop it by not even having the conversation about it. It's more about your behaviors than it is anything. Do not let them trigger you to the point where they start playing you like that. And that's what he was doing to me. He knew what would set me off. He knew I would go off on certain things, and he would push literally that button to do so. And we can't have that happen. So I Grayrocked. Okay, I Grayrocked. I only asked for what I needed from him. I only talked to him when I needed to talk to him. And then one other thing. That taught me that because we're going to go through this whole cycle over and over and over again, like a hamster just spinning that wheel. It taught me that I needed to work on my exit strategy. It taught me that all those things that I was requesting of him to do, I needed to find somebody else, like I told you, the neighbor, to do X, Y, and Z for me. Because anytime you rely on them for something, they will use it as leverage against you. So when you rely on them for financial, for child help with children, whatever it happens to be, they will use that against you. And so for me to have peace of mind and not have that headache, I simply I said, you know what? I'm going to figure out a way in which I can do this on my own, where this is helping me build my exit strategy so I could get out. And again, he does that, or did that on purpose. Once he realized I had a strategy or a plan for everything that I used to need him for, he realized I had no use for him. He became angered at that point in time. And then he just up and left. And basically that's abandonment. But at that point in time, I already had everything done where I didn't need him anymore. And he just walked out. Now, here we are, a year and some later. So what, May, June, July, August, September. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 months later, there's still some rough days. If you saw the video that I posted of the vlog of have good days, have bad days, I still have those days. There's days where I'm very happy. There's days where just emotional. Sometimes it's hormones. I can tell you that sometimes it's just hormones, you know, but there's times where I'm like, this is so unfair. This is so unfair because of the fact that now I have the responsibility of going to parent-teacher conferences next week. I have the responsibility of making sure that they have something to eat, making sure that they go to their doctor's appointments, making sure they get their haircuts, making sure that they have clothes, whatever it is, it's all on me 100%. But would I trade that for what my alternative was? Would I? No. Thank God I have a job in which I make enough. I make more with my one job than we made together. Me and him made together. So I don't need him financially, but that doesn't excuse him of his financial responsibilities or obligations to his boys. And so that is what it is on that. That's another conversation for another day. But again, when they do that, when they start triggering you on purpose, they want to get a rise out of you. And my question for you, if you're going through this, what are you going to do about it? And this may not be a relationship in terms of a spouse or a boyfriend or girlfriend. This may be even a job. Some bosses do the exact same thing. If they have that personality disorder, they will do things to get a rise out of you. They know that if I give you, again, as a nurse, if I give you the worst assignment, that's going to set you off. They're going to know if I give you, if I set your schedule for 3 or 4 or 5 days in a row, when you're only supposed to, when you don't work that way, that's going to set you off. They're going to know I'll schedule you for every single weekend when you're supposed to work 2 weekends a month. That's going to set you off. But then you may not be in a position to do anything about it. They do things on purpose. You have to check these people. But sometimes when you have to check people, you have to be ready to go ahead and make that move to go ahead and leave that situation. And that's what I'm saying in this video. They will trigger you and trigger you and trigger you until you make a decision that you're not going to trigger me anymore. And if you triggering me as a result of me having to depend on you, I need to find a way that I don't depend on you. And that's what I did. And is it hard? Yes, it is. But the mental that I was going through, knowing he was doing it on purpose, and then that evil smile, that smirk he would do, that in itself was enough for me to say, you know what? Nah. No. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. And I had peace within me when I start realizing that he was not going to do this to me anymore. So hopefully this has been insightful for you. Hopefully this has helped you. I got this actual idea from this video from actually Pastor or Bishop R.C. Blakes Jr. here on YouTube. He did a video basically talking about how the narcissist triggers you. And it made me think about, in my situation, how I was triggered. So that was the inspiration for this video. So go check his video out if you happen to like R.C. Blakes Jr., which I do. But if you happen to love this series, continue to, comment that below. Again, I plan to do more vlogs, in terms of specifically vlogs behind the scenes of how things are going with me regarding this component of me getting past this situation, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'll probably start a new vlog tomorrow, but it is what it is. So I just wanted to come back here to encourage you to say, okay, you know what? It's going to be okay, but we do have issues and we got to resolve them. We got to fix them. And just know there's people out here who will trigger you, but we have to get better. Until the next time, you all can follow me on IG if you choose. I'm on TikTok all the time. Until the next time, you all take care. Bye-bye.